Start by understanding what participles are. A participle is a word formed from a verb, but it doesn't always act like a verb in a sentence. Instead, participles can function as adjectives, describing nouns, or as part of a verb phrase to show tense. This dual role makes participles incredibly useful in English. Whether you're describing an ongoing action or combining sentences for smoother writing, participles are a key tool. In this video, we'll break down the main functions of participles, look at examples, and see how they can make your writing more dynamic and precise. One of the primary functions of participles is to act as adjectives. This means they describe or modify nouns, giving more information about them. For instance, when you say the crying baby, the word crying is a participle that tells us more about the baby. Participles can appear before or after the noun they describe, and they help add detail and color to your sentences. By using participles as adjectives, you can make your writing more vivid and engaging, painting a clearer picture for your reader. Present participles end in ing and describe an active characteristic, cause, or nature of a noun. For example, in the phrase, the running water, running tells us what the water is doing. Present participles are great for showing ongoing actions or qualities that are currently happening. They help your reader imagine the scene as it unfolds, making your writing more immediate and lively. Let's look at an example. The crying baby kept everyone awake. Here, crying is a present participle that describes the baby. It tells us what the baby is doing and adds a sense of action to the sentence. This use of participles helps to create a more dynamic and engaging description, making it clear why everyone was kept awake. Past participles usually end in ed or n and describe the passive state or feeling experienced by a noun as a result of an action. For example, in the broken vase, broken tells us about the vase's condition after something happened to it. Past participles are perfect for showing the result of an action or a state that has been reached. Consider this example. The broken vase could not be repaired. Here, broken is a past participle that describes the vase's condition. It tells us that something happened to the vase and now it can't be fixed. Using past participles in this way helps you convey the outcome or effect of an action clearly and efficiently. Participles are also essential in forming multi-word verb phrases, especially when showing tense. By pairing participles with helper verbs, you can express ongoing or completed actions. This is a key part of English grammar, allowing you to be precise about when something happens or happened. To show that an action is ongoing, use a present participle with the helper verb to be. For example, she is running a marathon today. Here, is running tells us that the action is happening right now. This structure is common in English and helps you describe events as they unfold. Take the sentence, she is running a marathon today. The present participle running works with the helper verb is to show that the action is happening right now. This is a clear example of how participles help form continuous tenses in English. To show that an action has been completed, use a past participle with the helper verb to have. For example, they have finished their homework. Here, have finished tells us the action is done. This structure is used to talk about experiences, results, or actions that affect the present. Consider the sentence, they have finished their homework. The past participle finished works with have to show that the homework is already done. This is a common way to talk about completed actions in English, especially when the result is important now. Another powerful use of participles is in participle clauses. These clauses let you combine two sentences that share the same subject into one, making your writing smoother and more concise. This technique is especially useful for reducing repetition and improving the flow of your sentences. Participle clauses are great for reducing sentences. For example, instead of saying, he was walking down the street, he found a lost wallet, you can combine them. Walking down the street, he found a lost wallet. This not only shortens your writing but also makes it more engaging and direct. Let's see how this works in practice. The sentence, walking down the street he found a lost wallet, uses a participle clause to combine two related actions. This structure is efficient and keeps your writing clear and concise. Participle clauses can also show clear cause and effect. By using perfect participles, you can indicate that one action happened right before another. This helps your reader understand the sequence of events and the relationship between actions. Perfect participles are formed by using having plus a past participle, like having eaten. This structure shows that one action was completed before another began. It's a useful way to clarify the order of events in your writing. For example, having eaten breakfast, she left for work. Here, having eaten is a perfect participle phrase that explains what happened first. This makes the sequence of actions clear and helps your reader follow the story. To recap, participles serve three main functions: acting as adjectives, forming verb tenses, and creating participle clauses. Each function helps you write more clearly and efficiently, whether you're describing, showing time, or combining ideas. Using participles makes your writing more concise and expressive. They help you avoid repetition, add detail, and clarify the sequence of events. Mastering participles is a great way to improve your English skills and make your communication more effective. A common mistake with participles is misplacing them, which can create confusion. For example, running down the street the wallet was found suggests the wallet was running. Always make sure the participle clearly refers to the correct noun. To use participles effectively, place them close to the noun they describe. Read your sentences aloud to check for clarity. If something sounds confusing, try rephrasing it. Practice makes perfect, so keep experimenting with participles in your writing. Remember, present participles end in ing and show active qualities, while past participles usually end in ed or n and show passive states. Knowing the difference helps you choose the right form for your sentence. Writers often use participles to create vivid imagery and rhythm in literature. For example, shivering in the cold, the child waited for the bus. The participle phrase adds emotion and detail, making the scene come alive. We use participles all the time in everyday conversation. Phrases like "I'm working," "he's tired," or "having finished dinner, we went out" are all examples. Participles make our speech more natural and efficient. Using participles can help you vary your sentence structure and avoid monotony. Instead of always starting with the subject, try beginning with a participle phrase. This adds variety and keeps your reader interested. When you start a sentence with a participle phrase, use a comma after it. For example, walking to school, she enjoyed the fresh air. The comma helps separate the introductory phrase from the main clause. Past participles are often used in passive voice constructions. For example, the cake was eaten by the children. Here, eaten is a past participle showing what happened to the cake. Present participles can be used in active voice to show ongoing actions. For example, the children are eating cake. Here, eating is a present participle and the focus is on the doers of the action. Perfect participles are especially useful for showing the sequence of actions. For example, having finished his work, he went home. This makes it clear which action happened first. By using participle clauses, you can make your writing more concise. Instead of writing two separate sentences, combine them with a participle. This saves words and keeps your writing tight and focused. Participles are great for adding detail to descriptions. For example, the shining stars lit up the night. Here, shining gives more information about the stars, making the image more vivid. You'll often see participles in instructions or recipes. For example, stirring constantly, add the milk. The participle phrase tells you how to perform the action, making instructions clear and direct. News headlines often use participles to save space and convey action quickly. For example, missing child found safe. The participle missing gives immediate information about the child's situation. Advertisers use participles to create catchy slogans and highlight features. For example, refreshing taste, lasting energy. The participles make the message punchy and memorable. In emails, participles help you keep messages brief and polite. For example, hoping to hear from you soon. This structure is friendly and efficient, perfect for professional communication. On resumes, participles are used to describe skills and experiences. For example, experienced in project management. This makes your qualifications clear and direct to potential employers. In instructions, participles help clarify steps. For example, using a sharp knife cut the vegetables. The participle phrase tells you how to do the action, making instructions easy to follow. Storytellers use participles to create suspense and pace. For example, hiding behind the door, she waited. The participle phrase sets the scene and builds anticipation for what happens next. In academic writing, participles help you present information efficiently. For example, based on the results we concluded, the participle phrase introduces evidence or reasoning clearly. Formal writing often uses participles to link ideas smoothly. For example, considering the circumstances, we decided. This structure helps maintain a formal tone and logical flow. Creative writers use participles to add style and rhythm. For example, dancing in the rain, she felt free. The participle phrase adds movement and emotion, making the writing more engaging. In technical writing, participles help explain processes clearly. For example, connected to the power source, the device operates automatically. The participle phrase gives important setup information. Poets use participles to create imagery and mood. For example, whispering winds dance through the trees. The participle phrase brings the scene to life and adds a poetic touch. Journalists use participles to report events efficiently. For example, arriving at the scene, police began their investigation. The participle phrase quickly sets the context for the main action. By mastering participles, you can make your writing more dynamic, concise, and expressive. Whether you're writing stories, emails, or academic papers, participles give you the tools to communicate clearly and creatively. Keep practicing and soon you'll use participles with confidence and style.